Do you hear it? The clock on the wall says it's after 11. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite show and mine, Countdown to Armageddon, and I am your host, Publius. Today I have a couple things I want to talk to you about. Oh, I've got one big thing to talk to you about. An article really published January 5th, excuse me, February 5th by the off the Fox News. It's under the category of Second Amendment. It says gun control bill from Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee would create national firearm registry, require licensing. The bill would make it a crime to possess a firearm or ammunition without the new license. If we scroll down, we read Texas Democrat Sheila Jackson Lee. Oh man, the Texans have got to be embarrassed by her. Has proposed a gun control bill that would create a national firearm registry, set a minimum gun ownership age at 21, and both require licensing and psychological evaluations. The proposed Civica, whoever. This bill, Civica Shiak Firearm Licensing and Registration Act, would make it a crime to possess a firearm or ammunition without the new license or to sell to someone who doesn't have that license. This bill is named for an exchange student from Pakistan who died in a Texas school shooting in 2018. Now, Sheila Jackson Lee has claimed that getting guns out of the neighborhoods is hard because of the NRA, and that's a bunch of bunk. But let's go back into the article. It says it also requires gun owners to pay for insurance and bans ammunition of 50 caliber or greater, except for law enforcement and limited range of security personnel. The bill would give U.S. Attorney General jurisdiction over licensing through the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the ATF. Gun owners would also have to complete a government training course, have a clean record, and register their firearms with the federal government. Registry information would be available to law enforcement from local to federal level, as well as the U.S. military. The U.S. military? Why would the U.S. military need to know that I have a gun? We'll come back to that. The display of antique firearms in one's home would require a federal firearms license, and an additional license under the proposed law. It would also be a license for military-style weapons, which the bill defines as a broad range of semi-automatic rifles and handguns, as well as some shotguns. Anyone who has ever been hospitalized due to mental illness, drug or alcohol abuse, homicidal or suicidal thoughts, or brain disease would not be eligible to obtain a firearms license. The psychological evaluation process would also take into account the psychological condition of the other members in the licensee's household, current and former spouses, and relatives and associates. All right, let's back up here. Go back up to the top where it starts talking about this bill. Okay, go up a little more. Where does it say? First off, you would have to have this. You would have to register every gun with the federal government. Why? What is the purpose of a gun registration? Now, okay, they're talking quote unquote common sense gun control laws. What do you need a national firearm registry for? There's only one purpose it serves, and so they know what guns are in what house for when they want to take them away. You won't be able to have a gun or buy ammunition without the license. I mean, if you look at this bill, left and right, this bill puts up a lot of issues to me. Psychological evaluations. Anybody who said they had a bad day can't have a gun. We're going to leave it to a group of doctors to determine whether a person should have the ability to exercise their rights. This is what it boils down to. Let me go ahead and pull up the Second Amendment real quickly, because obviously Sheila never read it. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, was passed by Congress September 25th, 1789. It was ratified December 15th, 1791. It is part of the first 10 amendments, also known as the Bill of Rights. These are supposed to be sacrosanct. You cannot change them. If you try to change them, it requires you got to get an amendment. So let's read what the amendment says. It says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Okay, let's break this down, because a lot of you idiots out there don't know how to read English. It says, that in order for a state to remain free, it needs a well-regulated militia. What does well-regulated mean? You got to go look up the words as they were used back then. Well-regulated meant well-armed. A well-armed militia being all the able-bodied people, basically any adult, is necessary to the security of a free state. This is why we have this amendment part. Those two clauses are the whys. They are not the limits. They are not meant to restrict the amendment. They define why we have the amendment. It goes in now and says, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It doesn't say may be infringed under certain conditions. Maybe we can say this isn't right. It says shall not be infringed. Now, I have heard a lot of idiots who say, well, they weren't talking about automatic weapons because they didn't have them back then. Yeah, they did. They had pistols that would shoot multiple rounds. They had multiple barreled guns. They had the ancient version of the automatic weapon. You don't see it here where it says cannons are illegal. So it does include bigger weapons. Back in the time of the Revolution and afterwards, if you wanted to put a cannon on your ship, you could do so, if you could afford the cannon. So keep this part here in mind and go look at her bill. They want you to register your guns, number one. Why? So they can take them. They want you to buy a license. You want to license my right. If this gets through the Supreme Court, we're screwed. Because the Supreme Court already told us before that you can't you can't charge people for exercising their rights. Couldn't have a bill, couldn't pass a law that said in order to vote, you had to pass a test. Nope, no poll test, no poll tax. This one bill gives us both a gun test and a gun tax. A special license fee. It distinguishes guns. I mean, come on. Any gun that's semi-automatic can fall under this. Almost every gun out there is semi-automatic. Semi-automatic means pull trigger, gun goes bang. Versus bolt action. Open up chamber, put bullet in, close chamber, fire. Most hunting rifles are semi-automatic. Even a lever action could consider to be a semi-automatic. Now, I know a lot of those left-wing nut jobs are going, yes, but this is actually just aimed to get rid of the automatic rifles and those assault rifles. Number one, you can't even define an assault rifle 9 times out of 10. And we've already seen this lady, Sheila Jackson Lee, is a complete and utter moron and doesn't know the difference between a 308 and an AR-15. They think the AR in front of AR-15 means assault rifle. That's not what it stands for. Idiots are passing laws to restrict the rights of people that to right to bear arms. Now, these are the same idiots that want absolutely no restrictions on the right of abortion. They don't even want restrictions that would help keep people alive. Nope, no restrictions whatsoever. No common sense restrictions. But yet they want to call these common sense restrictions. Now, I remember there was an old saying. I can remember people talking about it in the 70s and the 80s. No one's coming to take your guns. The Democrats repeatedly say, no one's out to get your guns. We just want common sense gun control laws. Things that, to close these loopholes. These loopholes that they basically made up. You cannot go to a gun show and buy a gun without having a background check. There's already background checks on every gun purchase. Okay. National Registry. That's only so you can take guns away. National License. That's so you can soak people for money so they can exercise their freedoms. You can't buy ammunition of 50 caliber or greater. Well, considering there's not much greater that is legal to own anyway, and even at 50 caliber, very few people own a 50 caliber gun. They require special licensing already, except for law enforcement, she says. But yet, she's also one of those people that supported the idea of getting rid of police. They want to defund the cops and have it be social workers. So basically, the cops wouldn't have guns. The people wouldn't have guns. Who would have guns? The criminals. All right, let's go back in time a little bit. Go back to back in the 1970s. The average police officer carried a .38 Special. They weren't even carrying 9mm at the time. There might be a shotgun in his car. And that was considered to be sufficient. Up until a major shootout in California, where the bad guys had automatic weapons. At this point, police departments started carrying automatic weapons. They started having M16s, not AR-15s, M16s, the military-grade rifle. We started getting SWAT teams. The militarization of the police began around that time. Why? Because the bad guys had the guns. Now, Sheila Jackson Lee is saying, well, we don't need those guns. Why would you need an AR-15? Because the bad guys have them. What is the point of the right to bear arms? The least it's supposed to do is allow me the right to protect my family, to protect myself. Self-defense is supposed to be a natural right. It's one of those things that should not be infringed. Go back to the Declaration of Independence. It's one of those inalienable rights. You cannot tell a person they cannot defend their life. To do so, you've become the enemy. Well, Sheila Jackson Lee has become the enemy. She wants the Attorney General to be in charge of guns by using the Bureau, the ATF. Now, the ATF are the same people that brought tanks to Waco to take on a religious cult. Whether the government should have gone into Waco or not, I'm not going to argue. The point is, when the government brings tanks to deal with a religious group, there's a problem. What's next? We're going to start sending Apache gunships? And this is the level of power they want in the hands of the federal government, to where they regulate all weapons. Because that way, people like Joe Biden can turn around and say, hey, we don't need these no more. Get rid of them. Now, Joe, you may remember, is famous for saying, all you need is a shotgun. Well, this bill even proposes banning some shotguns. You would need a government training course, have a clean record, and register their firearms with the federal government. Registry information would be available to law enforcement from local to federal level, as well as the U.S. military. I asked you earlier, why would you need the military to know? So they could come take your guns. All those years they promised us, no, we're not out to take your guns. Yeah, they are. We knew it then. We knew it was a lie then. And now, they don't even lie about it. Yeah, we're going to take your guns. Remember that, Beto? You said so. You said, we're going to take your guns. Joe Biden, you're all for taking people's guns. What happened to the Second Amendment? It's funny how Democrats believe the rights of the people can be infringed if they don't like the right. Ooh, guns scary. They scare people. Get over it. How many guns are in the country? How many people own guns? By your theory and the way they're acting, there should be a death rate commensurate. You should be able to compare the numbers. 10 million guns, 10 million deaths. 10 million gun owners, 10 million kills. People die a year. It doesn't work that way. Why? Because less than 1% of guns in this country are ever involved in crime. You have a better chance of being killed by a car than you do being shot. Now, yes, there are cities and there are places where your odds are even greater, where the odds of being shot go up. 90% of those guns are not legal. So what is this bill going to do to the criminal? Nothing. I mean, they're basically operating under the theory, I know. We'll make it illegal to own certain guns, because that'll stop them. It's illegal to shoot someone. It didn't stop you from shooting somebody, but this extra law, that's going to be the one that makes the criminal go, damn, okay, you win. I need to stop shooting people. Here, I can't use this gun to shoot you. Can you hold on? Let me go get another one. No, this isn't going to do any damn good. Furthermore, the whole stupid premise that this is going to stop killings in school, that this is going to eliminate mass shootings, wrong. The vast majority of mass murders in this country are not committed with assault rifles. They're committed with pistols. So if they get their way and they get rid of the assault rifles, and it didn't do the job they said they wanted to do, they're going to need to go through and get rid of the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, until, yes, they are going to disarm you. Why? Because a population that has no guns has to follow the orders. The people with the guns are going to win. And this is where we're heading. But thank goodness for certain states for some of the states out there. They've already begun to push back. They've already started passing laws saying, no, we're not going to follow unconstitutional directives. Now we just need to get them to stand up and declare their state as Second Amendment sanctuary. Hey, if you can have illegal alien sanctuaries, we can have gun sanctuaries, meaning that state will not follow federal gun control laws because they're wrong. They're immoral. They are basically taking the power and giving it all to the criminal. I'm going to tell you right now, Publius says ain't happening. Furthermore, if this bill gets through Congress, which God willing it will not pass Congress, and by some fluke, probably Roberts, passes the Supreme Court, then you can kiss your butts goodbye, because there will be a war. The first time ATF starts trying to come out to say a gun owner in Texas and tells that Texan, I need to get your AR-15, he gonna look at him and go, kiss my backside. You want my rifle? You can only get it when you pry it from my cold dead hands. Yep, folks, that will be the beginning of civil war. These idiots think they can play games with people's lives. Well, guess what? People ain't gonna take that shit. The farmer who has to keep his flock, to keep his herd safe from wolves, ain't gonna take that shit. You want to get rid of high-capacity magazines. You don't need to shoot more than 5 bullets. There's a pack of wolves, 10 wolves in the pack. Oh, so we could only kill 5 of them. That means the other 5 are going to come after the guy that was shooting the wolves that were trying to kill his cattle. Oh, but cattle are bad anyway because, you shouldn't be eating meat. Everything to push their agenda. Publius says, no. I like my steak. I like my guns. I like my freedom. You can all kiss my backside. I won't tell you how to live. Don't tell me how to live. You want to be a victim? You be a victim. But don't make me be a victim. You want to settle this? You ain't going to like where it leads. Okay, I know. Publius was on a rant today. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Don't know. Leave your comments. If you disagree, I'm liable to look at you and laugh at you because when they come and put you in cages, remember you gave them the power. Okay, folks, if you like this show, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, share this episode with other people out there, support your other channels that are out to defend your rights and your liberties. That includes the First Amendment auditors and all the other channels that are out there talking to you about how the government is out to infringe upon your rights. I'd like to give a special shout out to Salty Cracker. Keep it up, Uncle Salty. Keep giving us the real news, and we got your back. Thank you all for spending some time with me. If you want to donate, appreciate any and all help that you may give me. This has been Publius Rex giving you the latest news on your countdown to Armageddon. Thank you all, and you guys have a wonderful day.